Resolution 572-20 urges the Honorable President Donald J. Trump to issue a ban on all non-essential travel to the state of Hawaii until April 30, 2020, to help reduce the COVID-19 infection rate and ease the burden on our already strained healthcare, housing, food, medicine, and dry goods resources. Introduced by all members of the Hawaiʻi County Council.
Can I have a motion? It's been moved by Ms. Leloy, seconded by Ms. Kirkowitz. Any discussion? Anyone?
Chair Chung,
Yes, Ms. Villegas, go ahead.
I thought it was interesting today. I believe it's Mayor Caldwell identified coming to Hawaii to stay in a short-term vacation rental is a non-essential business. So short-term vacation rentals should not be operating right now. That made a lot of sense to me, and I've been hearing from a number of different constituents that have a lot of concerns about travelers and visitors still coming and staying in short-term vacation rentals and having absolutely little to no accountability for a mandated quarantine in those facilities. And so and also in watching the news, I mean, I agree with this, and I'm hoping that President Trump would do it. But after listening to Governor Ige speak about the FAA and what can and can't be done, it just kind of put the idea in my head that there may be some opportunity to incorporate this angle of short-term vacation rentals not being non-essential business. Therefore, those should be part of what's closed, which then gets us to where we want to get to, which is no more visitors flying in.
Okay.
I yield.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Chair, I have a comment.
Who is that? Oh, Val. Yes,
This
go
is
ahead.
Val. Yeah. I definitely strongly support this. And, when I read in the paper what our mayor said about it would be detrimental to our state and would prolong Hawaii's recovery from this emergency, we got it all backwards, because I think recovery should not be based on tourism. Our recovery plan should be based on what we're learning from all of this, and that's how do we plan for sustainability for the future, our sustainable lifestyles. The cultural lifestyle of, back in the day, we didn't depend on tourism. When I was growing up, I swear, we didn't depend on tourism. We depended on each other. And we supported agriculture. We had small little dairies. We had all of our backyard gardens, hunters and fishermen. They had easy public access, So if we're talking about recovery, we don't need to plan for tourism. We got to be smarter, because look what's happening right now, because we're just so dependent on tourism. We need to be dependent on our people and each other. Jeff Melrose, years ago, before he passed, God bless him, he had a sustainability plan, and he started writing that. And we need to take that off of the bookshelf, dust it off, and we need to get working on it. But this ridiculous notion that it's going to be detrimental to our state and would prolong Hawaii's recovery from this emergency is totally, totally absurd and ridiculous. So I just needed to state that, because that pissed me off reading that. Thank you.
Chair.
Yes, Mr. Kaneali Kleinfelder.
Yeah, I strongly agree with my other council members on this. This is an urgent need for our county, and we've all been asking for this, I think, from the beginning, and it's been a very slow response on behalf of all the administrations involved. And this is going to be one of the ways that we can flatten the curve and stop this pandemic. And that's that. So mahalo for putting this forward to all of us, and I appreciate this. This is a good job. Very good move on this council's behalf.
Anyone else? Okay, let me weigh in on this. As all of you know, I'm the one who instructed the county clerk and our legislative branch to prepare this resolution after seeing what Mayor Caldwell and the other mayors from Maui County and Kauai County had signed off on. And I know how united this council has been on trying to flatten the curve at all costs. And at the same time, we also know that these resolutions, particularly as they are directed to a person like President Trump, will probably not be too effective. Well, it might be. We don't know. We're only hopeful. But we needed to show at least some kind of unity with the other counties, I believe. And, unfortunately, Mayor Kim saw fit not to sign on with his colleagues, and that is certainly his prerogative. But, I think all of you will agree, I've tried, not to really bash Mayor Kim, because, at this time, I think I used the term squabbling really does us no good. But the public needs to see that there is a different opinion coming out from its county government. And I wanted to point out something. Yesterday in the local newspaper, Mayor Kim had a Viewpoint article which explained why he didn't sign on with his colleagues throughout the state on this request to President Trump. And he speaks about the effectiveness of the quarantine rule. And he mentioned it several times in that Viewpoint letter. And then in today's newspaper, the headline is that the quarantine enforcement is impeded by lack in getting traveler data from state tourism agency, and it's nearly impossible. And that is from our county government, Mayor Kim and Chief Ferreira. So, there seems to be mixed messages, and perhaps I'm missing it when I'm reading all of this, but it is very confusing. But at the same time, I'm not here to bash, our chief executive, but really the public needs to know that at least the county council is united in trying to do whatever it can to stem this COVID-19 epidemic. So having said that, and this is very unusual to have all of the council members co-introduce a measure like this. I don't think it's ever been done before, but we have some latitude with this emergency situation and the relaxation of certain laws, and I thought it would be the perfect opportunity for us to do something like this, just as a gesture. And if someone wants to contest the validity of this resolution, then well, so be it. Yeah. Because I really think it probably will fall on deaf ears, with President Trump. But who knows? Who knows? Every little bit will help. So we stand united with Mayor Caldwell, Mayor Kawakami, and Mayor Victorino in that regard. Okay. Anyone else?
Good.
Yes, Mr. Kaniali Kleinfelder.
Chair, mahalo for doing this. And I wanted to add, I think yesterday, the day before, the mayor's office took the time to clear a homeless camp out of the downtown Hilo area, which caused a huge stir in the community in regard to the COVID-19 pandemic. Hope Services was extremely disappointed in that move. So there needs to be a concerted effort from all of us to safely handle this pandemic. And this resolution is absolutely crucial. But yeah, our leadership needs some better direction.
Well, I take a different view on the clearing of that homeless encampment, but it might have been done better, but it was vitally important as well, I think. And at the same time, I do want to say, it's not to dismiss the idea that the administration is not doing a good job, with their task force. They have been very responsive, and they've been, addressing a lot of concerns that have been coming up from the public at large, within the context of their own framework right? I mean, I want to make that qualification. So anyway, we have a motion
Chair?
on the floor. Yes,
Chair?
Mr. Richards, go ahead.
Thank you. Little stilted because of all the separation here, but I just want to comment again. I'll echo Matt in saying this is an outstanding way to demonstrate our support of having this done. I completely agree with everyone's statements concerning restricting, stopping the tourism from coming into the state, just for the time, get that paused. I did want to comment on the vacation rental, however, because it's been brought to my attention that apparently we have families that are staying in them to stay away from their own family, whether they're healthcare workers or first responders, just so they're trying to distance that way. So, Rebecca, though I agree with you principally, there's another side of that fast that we should discuss before we push harder on that. Chair, with that, I yield.
Thank you. And you know, I'm reminded now of one more thing. I don't know if you guys have seen this thing that Google has been putting out, but they've been doing some tracking, right, based on mobile phone usage. It's very interesting. You know, throughout the state, they say what the reductions are in, you know, going to retail places or supermarkets or recreational areas. It's very, very interesting statistics that are being brought to light in that regard. And it seems that the public is really taking this seriously, our local public. And, you know, Mayor Kim mentioned that there are only a small amount of people now coming into the state of Hawaii and to our island. But if that's the case, why don't we shut it down completely? I mean, that's my feeling. Because our people are taking this seriously. And Val sent me a text the other day that was very disturbing, you know, about how, you know, people are finding Hawaii as being the place to seek refuge now. You know, in order for us to maintain or restore normalcy for our local population, we have to shut down our state. It's vitally important, I believe. You know, we have the luxury of being isolated or insulated from other places because we're an island state. And if we don't use that to our advantage, then we got to get our heads examined, quite frankly. So having said that, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Motion carried, 9 ayes.